Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soothing Sundays. How are you? If you're new, I live stream twice a week, Sundays here at 5 p.m. Pacific and Wednesdays 6 p.m. Pacific. And on Sundays, on Soothing Sundays, we get ready for the week. We get rid of any Sunday scaries or Monday manic, whatever, and we prime our brain and rewire our brain to have the best week ever. Okay. And so on Sundays, we always start off with a neurological reprogramming tool, which I am going to get into now. So, this neurological reprogramming tool is part of family systems work in psychology, also known as inner child work. So, what you're going to do is think about something that just naturally triggers you in some type of way. Something that pisses you off, upsets you. It could be when someone's late. Okay, yes, it's annoying when someone's late, but does it like really activate something within you? Do you have like a specific trigger, or your partner does something and it just sends you? Think of something like that, especially if it's something that happens on a regular basis and you think to yourself, "Oh, I wish I didn't always have that knee-jerk reaction." So think of something like that. Or it could just be something where you're in the moment and you're upset and you don't we never wanna numb our emotions, but you don't want to continue to keep that negative emotion going when it's appropriate to release it. So think of a situation like that. And what you're gonna do is be very present. So instead of letting your mind wander, "How dare you, blah, blah, blah," be very present. You're gonna be in the ground in the moment, and especially if this is you're not doing this in the moment, so you're just thinking about a time when you've been triggered by something, and think about how it makes you feel. It makes you feel upset, and if you can locate where you feel it in your body, take a moment to feel where that is in your body. Is it in your chest? Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your hands? Like, do your knees lock up? Think about it, or really feel into it, because sometimes we're so disassociated with our bodies when we're in an emotional state. So get in your body and just notice where you're holding it without any judgment. And then what you wanna do is think about a color that is soothing to you. So we're gonna think of a nice, like, whatever it might be. So maybe a soothing color is blue, maybe it's green or purple, whatever that is, think about that color coming from above, and then just going through all of your body, the inside of your body, the outside of your body, but especially that area where you're feeling the tension, and just allow it to slowly release. And you also wanna be breathing deeply when you do this. And now I want you to think about, as you're releasing and letting go, you this is all happening at the same time. The color is coming through, and it's releasing and relaxing you. And then I want you to think about a time that you were triggered as a child or teenager, that same trigger. So let's say the trigger for you is when someone's always late and that makes you upset. Maybe it makes you feel anxious, like, oh, maybe they're not coming or whatever it is. But think about it. So say you're 8 years old, and then ask that 8 year old how they feel about that situation, the person being late or whatever it is that was the trigger for you. Ask that younger version of you how they feel and what they're experiencing. And just kind of sit with it, see what they have to be very open. Child has had a chance to speak their mind or be seen and heard. And then from there, tell them that you completely understand their frustration and that you don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry about feeling abandoned or feeling frustrated or feeling like your needs are met, because I'm always here. You, the adult version of you, is here to fulfill your needs, whatever those are now. And so we don't have to be overly triggered when someone's late or whatever the trigger is, and relay that message to your inner child. And then after you do that, you come back to the present moment. Notice if your body's more relaxed. Hopefully, you're breathing deeper than you were before. And then just notice how you feel. Ask your inner child how they feel. And tell your inner child, you know what? It is really frustrating. This has been a trigger for us, but now we don't have to always be triggered. If someone's late, it could be annoying, but it doesn't have to be the end of the world, or whatever the trigger is. And so and I recommend doing this in the morning or the evening when you have time to just be by yourself. Because and then in the present moment, it becomes easier to just snap into that and be like, okay, let me just check in with my inner child. This is probably an abandonment thing coming up. Let me breathe into this, reassure my inner child, and then I could come back to the present moment without getting really triggered or a fight breaking out or something like that. So that is a really good tool for soothing your nervous system and calming or even completely releasing something that used to trigger you a lot. So, hi, Bob. How are you? And hello. And good morning to Prada. Not sure how to pronounce your name. So if you have any questions about mental health, relationships, personality disorders, let me know. I'm going to pull up the live stream on my phone. And so it's easier for me to see. And oops. I always forget to. My week was good. I had an opportunity. Oh, is my video fuzzy? Let me know if yeah, it is looking fuzzy on the, sorry, that looks like an internet issue. Hopefully it clears up because I'm not sure what to do about that right now. So let's see if it clears up. Thanks, no more cap. But yeah, my week was good. Had an opportunity to just surrender, let things go, especially because my throat was hurting. I just had to be very discerning where I put my energy. How was your week, Bob? And no more cap and prayed. It seems fuzzy. I'm glad it's not my, oh my God. Did you get your new phone drama sorted out? Why is it like that? Sorry, let me see. Everything's plugged in. Sorry about the fuzziness, guys. I could switch to my phone, doing it from my phone. I just don't. Good, I got phone squared away. Oh God, I'm glad to hear that. Thinking, because now my video looks paused. Hold on, let me try switching to my iPhone. Let's see if this connection is any better. I know, but I don't want it to be fuzzy. It's annoying. The internet drama. So again, we have to send the internet good energy. Okay. Love the internet. Love that it's always working. Okay. We're going to create our reality right now with the internet being better. Yeah, it's looking better on my phone too. Okay. So hello again. Welcome to the live stream. For Soothing Sundays, we talk about relationships, rewiring the brain, neuroplasticity, personality disorders. So let me know if you have any questions about related to things related to that. And we are definitely soothing our nervous system to have the best week, right? There are so many things, like honestly, like really, not that everything's perfect all the time, right? We're always evolving and things are always getting better. Hey, Brianna. But the point is that we want to be evolving. So, but our brain does tend to focus, unless we switch it out of survival mode, it will tend to focus on what's going wrong, what we need to fix, and so that is survival mode. And we can go into thriving mode by like, hey, what went well this week? That's why I have you guys celebrate your wins. Tell me, hey, Miss Priya, tell me what your wins are. That puts you in a thriving state and out of survival mode. Because we want to be that's where we want to be operating from, not those cortisol states. Yes, there are times where things are stressful, but when we focus on what's going right and give energy to the outcomes that we want, we create more of that. And then we create a positive momentum around that. And then we're operating from neural pathways of energy like peace, love, and joy, and authenticity. So these things that used to bother us, or these negative patterns or negative situations or negative people, they're just not part of our life anymore. Because literally everything is energy. So literally, if you're operating at a level of consciousness that's like up here, in terms of like just being peaceful, right? People that want chaos, people that want drama, or just situations like that, they're not going to find you. That's why people that are in more peaceful states and not stressed out all the time are healthier. So it all goes together. But if you have any wins for the week that you want to celebrate, and also if you have any intentions for the week that you want to put out there, put out into the world, it's when you do that, you're more likely to keep your commitment to yourself when you just say it out loud. And it feels good because we'll all support you too. Hi, Grayson. Let's see. Brianna, I'm good. How are you? Oh, Miss Priya. Do we live in a world and time where confrontations are glorified and people want them for dopamine highs, like they want the rage? I mean, I think that's a big part of reality TV. I do think that people like that. And there is a phenomenon where people really, it's like a form of a high. They get a dopamine hit off of vicariously watching someone else's life and like living through them in that like vicarious way. And some people have a lot of suppressed rage, right? That's where addiction comes from, is like they're trying to numb out, and not even just rage, but like anger, depression. There's just these different states that they were told at some point aren't suitable, or they can't express or show. So a lot of people have these suppressed emotions that they have had for years and decades. So watching public confrontations is exciting to people sometimes, and people get a dopamine hit off of it. But the more at peace you are and the more you've worked on yourself, you don't like that type of stuff. It's actually uncomfortable for you. Hi, Jabari. How are you? Good to see you. Everyone's up in here for Soothing Sundays. How are you? Do you have any wins for the week to celebrate? And do you have any intentions for the week to celebrate? I'm going to say mine because I've been kind of hinting at it for too long and it's annoying. I'm going to do more long form videos. I have all of them. Like I either have the script or what I want to say, or I have the edits in place, but I've just been like putting it off. So I'm going to put it out there. And then by next Soothing Sundays in 7 days, I'll be like, yeah, I have some long form stuff out there. Yay. So, yeah. But yeah, Miss Priya, like, that's where that can come from. But, and then Miss Priya says, my intention is to let someone else win a small dispute or inconvenience I have. Just let them have it. Yeah, just like let it go. Like that's a good intention to be in a state of surrender, because especially if someone wants to start a fight with you, or they're looking for the drama hit, type of thing from you, if they're attempting, or maybe they have successfully used you as supply for that drama type of hit that they want from people, let it go. Because really, it's not even about you. And it's not about the argument. It's about getting you riled up. I know it sounds crazy, but there are people that just want to do that, just want to rile you up. Because again, if they're offloading that emotion onto you, it's an emotion that they have inside them that they feel like they can't express for whatever reason. So they like doing that. And also, or just like making you feel uncomfortable. Like I've mentioned before, narcissists have so much guilt and shame, and they're so dysregulated and uncomfortable and unhappy all the time. So they want you to feel that way, and they get temporary temporary relief when they can make you feel that way. That's why, it was very interesting. I did, if you saw on I posted that clip from one of the live streams talking about how narcissists don't like when we sleep or we're relaxed in any way. And so many people responded to that. I think like on every platform, but especially Instagram, it seems like. And because it's so shocking and hurtful, it's like I can't even get a basic need met, which is sleep, because that will regulate me. And you're so dysregulated that you don't want me to feel regulated at all. That's how much these people are in pain. But I still don't recommend enabling them in any type of way. Jabari, wins intentions. Thank you. Yeah, tell us what your wins are for the week, Jabari, and any intentions. Yeah, like Miss Priya's not wanting to get into jade with anyone, so that's good. She's been working on that very successfully. Sleep deprivation is torture. It is. I mean, it's literally a way people torture people. And like I was saying in that previous live stream, it's, in domestic violence situations, it's one of the tactics they use is never letting their victim sleep. But, because you become irrational, you become unhealthy, you're kind of easier to manipulate and control. It's really sad, but it does happen. It is a thing. And I can also go to some questions that were in, let me look up, that were in Instagram. But like I was just saying, like this person's like, my ex would holler, yell, and make noise to wake me up. I begged him to stop doing that, but he wouldn't. Like, dealing with this, but a family member is the only one caretaking. Here, let me read this whole comment. Now community stalking found out they're in cults and covens. A huge smear campaign is going on. Even some families suddenly disappeared after I started figuring it out. I'm so shocked at what I'm seeing, even community hacking. Wow. And following me around in my hometown. This is crazy. Found out they are part of secret societies, gang stalkers, and government programs. Whew. Well, that's a lot right there. I would try to, and I'm saying try because, sometimes local authorities don't want to touch things like this, which is disgusting and sad. Let me go back to your comments. Let's see. Jabari wins. I'm ramping up sales calls with our Dime Squad media team. Very good. Plus our amazing neighbor Karen is helping us with her real estate experience to become more organized in our business. I freaking love that. Everything's just rolling into place for you, Jabari. That's awesome. And like the thing is like I feel like you have a lot of positive energy and enthusiasm about this. And so, of course, you're going to have those results. And I love it. We are definitely cheering you on. Hi, Big Pontiac. I went to a local powwow walking with the tribe. Was so uplifting. Nice. Love it. Hey, Peter, how are you? Haven't seen you. How you been? Been busy. So we'll try to get here when I can. Whenever you can make it, we love when you're here, Peter. Trying to be open and be in the moment, good. But with my experience in my current relationship, how can you be open to future relationships? So you're trying to be open in the moment. So I'm assuming that you mean like you're trying to be present in the moment, which is always the best place to be, because we can't keep reliving the past. It doesn't exist anymore. And we don't want to bring the past into the future because that's how we repeat patterns. And then just worrying about the future is anxiety. And that's also not a real thing yet. So we want to be in the present moment. So it sounds like you're doing that. And then you're saying, how can you be open to future relationships? you can just decide. So going back to that list that I want you guys, I mentioned this before. So if you're like, okay, I'm moving out of a toxic relationship, how do I even think about like a new relationship or doing anything like that? First, write down all the things that you want in a relationship. And yes, there'll be a mirror. You don't have to, don't worry about like, oh, and you need to become those things. Just ask yourself, how do you want to feel in a relationship? And I hope it's something like safety, security, joy, peace, like things like that. And then write down, like, get really specific about what you want that to look like. Yeah, you can do the things about like the looks and, everything that's like the physical part, get that out of the way. But then also, what do you want like a weekend to look like with this person? When you come home from work or when you're leaving in the morning or whatever it is, what do you want like the daily nitty gritty to look like? When that person texts you, how do you want that to feel? What type of communication do you want to have? Do you want to, like, in terms of, and this is a compatibility thing. Do you want kids? Do you not want kids? Do you want to travel? Like, really get into the nitty gritty of that and write it down, write it down, and write it down. And then, you know what? Also put that in your phone. Or you could, if you wrote it down, take a picture of it and put it somewhere in your phone where you could easily find it, and then look at it and give that life and give that energy. Okay. And part of that, I hope, is, oh, that person is emotionally evolved, has some type of good EQ, especially for you, Peter, because we know a lot of a, a part of your journey, right, around this. So you definitely want someone that's working on themselves the way that you are. I've really, really noticed that in terms of just if things are going to work out, like in compatibility, like, yes, you can have chemistry, you could be great together, but if you want longevity in a relationship, both people should be working on themselves. If not, like the blind spots that you have, the addictions that you have, the unreleased trauma that you have, it gets worse and worse and worse. And then you start blaming each other because because relationships are a mirror and will reflect that back to you constantly, and you'll get frustrated. But if both people are committed to their personal evolution, it is so much better. And I really very much recommend that. Um, Let me see, Peter. Um, So you're worried that you're numbing, and we'll decide to, if you notice that you're getting cynical, say, okay, because that's just a fear-based thing. So if you notice or worry, or you're worrying that you're getting cynical, that's your inner critic taking over. And you could be like, oh no, I don't have to do that. Because your inner that's a form of your inner critic being like, yeah, the relationship that you want isn't going to work out for you. And so blah blah. Shut that shit down. Tell your inner critic, no, I'm not a cynical person. I'm not going to get cynical. I know what I'm doing is the best thing for me, and I don't need to, like, immediately have a new relationship. That's not what you want to do anyway. You want to take time in your healing process to be by yourself and to love yourself. And I know it sounds so freaking corny, but like, to date yourself, it really helps to do all of those things. And it really helps to be in a place where you love being alone. You love your own company. And then when you are with someone, then you could really actually enjoy it. Not like, I need this person to feel good. It's like, I feel good with me, and this is nice too. This person, it's amplifying everything. Um, let's see. Jabari says, intentions for the week: to bring win-win to customers, to our business partners, earning profit. Love that. I want to keep getting to know our community here too, Lauren, including, yes, yes, we have a very supportive community here. We're all here to support each other's goals. Um, I'm glad you had a good time, Big Pontiac. Yeah, I'm glad too. Big Pontiac, I guess my other wins is doing multiple things with my friend group. I love that. Very good. Connecting with friends is so important. It's so, that's your community. And that is a big predictor of health and longevity, is having a community and spending time with them, connecting with them. So I'm so glad you got to do that. Um, you're welcome, Jabari. Yeah, keep growing that business. We love that. Jabari, absolutely, Bob. Jabari says, Lauren, I appreciate your relationship advice. I can say for sure that when a romantic relationship unfolds, I truly want kids. I will start writing about that, about the days and weekends. Yeah. Like, get into all the details of it, and writing it down just makes it clear. And then you want to replay that as much as like you can, because you're creating new neural pathways and you're creating that feedback loop. And so you're making yourself, and you're literally like emanating those thought signals out, which are very strong. We have like, our heart is like an electromagnetic field. And so when we think certain things, we are literally vibrating that way. So, and that's why we attract certain things. So that's really the science behind law of attraction. So if we want a new experience, we have to think from that place, and not like, oh, but that's not possible. Like, if the thought is there, that is what you're supposed to have, right? I really do believe that our desires are divinely placed in our heart, and they're just like, God's just like, this is what's for you. That's it. It's like super simple. And so we get to just say thank you and receive it. So yeah, the list really helps, and going back to it really helps. And also, when you have a list of the things that you want in a partner, it keeps you on track, because sometimes it's kind of like, oh, I'll compromise on things that should be the non-negotiables, right? In the list, we also want to put the non-negotiables in there. And so whatever those are for you, but it will keep you on track, because sometimes maybe when our self-esteem isn't in the right place, we're like we have this scarcity mentality of like, oh, I should just settle, I should just blah, but then no, go back to the list, read it. That is what you get to have. Exactly, Bob. Like, the self-growth, and I think that self-growth is a form of self-care. Like, whatever it is, some type of personal development needs to always be happening. And I do think it's good to do it with someone else. Like, you have a therapist or coach, and your partner has a therapist or coach. So you're always looking at parts of yourself that you didn't know were there. And that may be hard to look at, because if you don't, your partner will surely show them to you, whether they're, meaning to or not. Or it's not like they're going around looking for things to be pissed off about, but they will just come up. Relationships are mirrors, and they're really mirrors for our unconscious wounding, things that we get to let go of, wounds that are still there from childhood. Relationships, for better or worse, they do that. So when you have a um, healthy relationship, or just any type of relationship, is a mirror for sure. But what I'm saying is that it's just so much better when you are with someone that's also working on themselves, if you care about that, and you care about the integrity and the quality of the relationship, and you want longevity to it. And trust me, as someone, I used to be the empath that was like, oh, it's okay, like, I'm the evolved one, and like, I'm just so patient and everything. It's like, it will not last. It will not last if you are someone that is committed to your growth and evolution. And this is what I do for a living. So being with someone that's like, oh yeah, I've never been to therapy, or yeah, I have a therapist, but I talk about everyone but myself. Please, bitch. Like, no. Um, it's just like a form of being an emotional coward anyway. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Here we go. Yes. Peter, I'm worried I'm already numbing out and very critical of people, relationships. I try to process it and be open, but not sure. The inner child keeps telling me it's safer to be by yourself. Well, maybe there's two things to that. Maybe right now it is safer to be by yourself. Like, right now, where you are in your healing journey, Peter, I think it's time, like, just to be by yourself. Maybe your inner children are like, hey, before you get all involved in someone else. Can you pay attention to us? Maybe it's that too, you know? I just want to put that out there. And that doesn't mean like we need to be alone forever and people suck and everything. But right now, like you get to call all of your energy back to you. You've been in a situation with a lot of energy vampires, a lot of people draining your energy that are very selfish, don't care about you, using you as supply. So you are in the stage of healing where you get to call all of your energy back, get some really good solid boundaries and freaking keep them, and then write down your standards list, how you want your relationship to look, how you want to feel, what the non-negotiables are. Get all of that in place. But like let's strengthen everything about you first. And again, get to that place where you feel good being alone. So maybe it's not like your inner, and I don't know for sure, but it could be that your inner child is like, please, can we just all get together first? Can I just have some attention from you? Like maybe your inner children just want more of your attention right now. And when you do that, I'm telling you guys, inner child work is such a fast way to rewire your brain and heal old wounds that might have been there for a really long time. So if we could just focus on that and give our inner children, our inner teenagers a little bit more love, then you could focus on the other stuff. And then if you notice that you're numbing out and you're very critical of people and relationships, that's good awareness. That's good awareness that you are noticing that you're doing that, and you don't have to continue to do that. Maybe it's part of you just trying to protect yourself because it's like too much right now. So it's like, okay, I'm doing that thing where I'm numbing out again. Maybe I can just focus on loving myself, my self-care, putting myself first, like showing myself all forms of self-love and self-respect and self-care. What if you started there, Peter? What do you think about that? Uh, Bob says, "Hey, Peter, I feel you on the critical thing. You can break out of it, though, my friend. One thing that helped me was the silly little daily gratitude practice. It really does help. Just having gratitude for the littlest things or big things, whatever it is. Gratitude is an energy that makes things grow. It's really true, Bob. And like Bob, you're in a great relationship right now. Like, but Bob, didn't you take a long time off of dating first? And then you started dating again. And then yes, you did the gratitude, but you really did a lot of internal work. And now you have a great relationship and you're moving to Texas and you're going to have a farm and chickens and stuff eventually. Yay. Um, if you look if you look for more good, you'll start thinking more positively, Bob says. And when you start thinking more positively, it will be reflected in your reality, right? So when the inner critic starts being all cynical and everything, it's typically a form of a negative form, a maladaptive form of self-preservation, right? So you could tell your inner critic, like, I get what you're trying to do right now because of that gnarly situation that happened, and I did get super hurt. I understand, inner critic, what you're trying to do by talking shit about all these people and talking shit about relationships. Like, I don't need anyone, everyone sucks. But you know what, inner critic? I'm doing a lot of inner work right now and I trust myself. And first, I'm going to work on continuing to trust myself and work on self-love and self-care and heightening my self-respect. So I'm just going to be by myself for a bit. But I also know that there are a lot of good people and I will attract those people. And those people love and respect me. First of all, and also, Peter, you found us. Okay, we are all amazing people who are very supportive of you. So, we don't suck. We're not like, we're not whatever, but like whatever your inner critic is saying about people, we're here to love and support you and give you all types of positive energy. So that's just a way that's another way to look at it, right? Like your energy field found this channel. Okay. So also you can, on top of gratitude, you can show your inner critic like examples of the opposite, proof of the opposite. Like, okay, well, Lauren and her channel, her community is very supportive of me. And there's other forms of support. And then your book club, and then the other things that you do. So just know that your inner critic is trying to protect you, but you don't need protection in that way. But right now, it's all about Peter. You focus on yourself right now. And you're doing really well, Peter. Peter, a win. I don't feel like a deer caught in the headlights and freezing or jumping into traffic. I pause, think, and act about how I process things. I can tell I'm calmer for sure. That's great. That's so good. Congratulations, Peter. That's, that's difficult for people to, that's like a huge win. So congratulate yourself for that. I love that. Yay. Yay. Bravo to, because like having that positive pattern disruption where you can create a pause in 12-step programs, they say that it's like for every year of sobriety you have 1 second of a pause. So if you've been sober for like 3 years, you have 3 seconds of pause. It's because it's so hard for people to have pause, like they just reacting all the time. And so the fact that you could do that, Peter, is such a big deal. Congratulate yourself for that. I hope you're super proud of yourself. Hi, Abel. How are you? Yeah, Jabari says, congratulations. Nice, guys. Jabari, Lauren, it's amazing that you know about the divine laws around frequencies. Oh, yeah. It's all interconnected. I'm telling you. Hi, Foamer Stoner. How are you? Let's see. Peter, great suggestion. There is an inner child. Focus on me first. Yes. The way you worded that, I just feel like your inner children want a lot more one-on-one time with you. So, and again, I'm going to start creating long-form content around inner child work, amongst other things, because it's such a good way to quickly rewire your brain and not reset, but like regulate your nervous system. So, but yeah, this is all about you. Peter, you've spent so much time giving so much of your energy to toxic people that continue to drain it, and then they are not grateful for it. And you've been in this very toxic, like cortisol survival cycle, because that's how it is with these people. So you get to thrive now. And that starts with bringing all of your attention and energy back to you and giving yourself that love that you gave other people because you thought it would help them like calm down or be reasonable. Like, no, now you get to give yourself that. Yeah, Bob says it was a long time ago, but I learned a lot. It was fantastic. Yes, it's good. It's just good to have a time in life like that. Peter, but to your point, Lauren, the inner critic is one mean chameleon MF. Sorry, loves to change colors based on the situation. Yeah, but remember, the inner critic is just old programming. Okay, so the inner critic is this big amalgamation of all the old programs that you were taught about yourself. So anything that your caregivers or people that caused any like emotional trauma or other forms of trauma told you, and then, or even a bad experience, like the inner critic is like, that's always going to happen. That's always going to happen, because they're just stuck. The inner critic only knows the past. Okay. And so if the inner critic is also a chameleon that's switching it up, okay, so they're gaslighting you. And did you have to be a chameleon? Was that a survival tactic for you? And so now the inner critic's like doing like bobbing and weaving and doing the chameleon type of thing. But the more we are aware of the inner critic, the less power they have, because we are separating ourselves from them. That's why I tell you guys, identify your inner critic. So give it a name that you do not like, and give it like all the features when you think about it. They're like smelly and like whatever. If you don't like beards, they have a beard. If you hate green hair, I don't know, whatever it is for you. They look they have a name and they look like something, smell like something you don't like, it definitely, so would you take advice from that person, right? That's what we want, to differentiate ourselves from the inner critic. They are living in the past. They only know the past. They're doing this thing where they're only in their survival mode. They are deep in scarcity mode, and you are not. So we have to continue to separate ourselves from the inner critic. Okay. Where'd the comments go? Let's see. Here we go. Bob. Oh, former stoner. I was reading that. Yeah, I know. I did that at first too. Jabari, Peter, that's pretty interesting. It's a valid point. What would be your color balance? How can we be authentic? Bob, inner critic is a liar. Can't trust that MF for sure. Lauren and Bob, same question for you. About being authentic. What do you mean by what would be your color balance? I don't know what that means, Jabari, but I'll answer the thing about authenticity. I think, authenticity is one of the highest vibrational states, right? We have love, peace, joy, and then authenticity. And it's like, I really feel like authenticity is an amalgamation of love, peace, and joy, because you love yourself. It's a very like joyous feeling. It's like a relaxed, joyous feeling. And it's very peaceful. You're just being you. You're just being you. And that's why a lot of times when you hear people talk about being in love, or when they really feel like someone loves them, what will they say? I feel like I could just be me. Whatever that is at any given moment. Authenticity differs at any given moment. When you're about to go to bed, authenticity looks different than in the middle of the day and in the morning, but it's you just being you. And if we are channels for God, if we're all God, right? And we're just channels for God, wouldn't it be true that like if we're just being us, then we are the most available for like God consciousness to run through us, or whatever you call your higher power. So you're the highest form of God, or you're letting as much possible God energy flow through you, because you're not letting the inner critic take over, or these lower states of consciousness that are all fear-based. They're not there. You're not in a fear-based place at all. You're in a place of love, peace, knowing everything's going to work out, trust. You're probably a lot funnier or relaxed or happy. You just like have good energy. You're vibrating in a different way. So that's what authenticity is. I think it is. Let's see. Bob, mine would be earthy tones, lots of green. Did I miss something about the colors? I don't know what this color stuff is about. Oh, you mean when I was talking earlier about the practice, like the neurological reprogramming practice, and then bringing in the colors. Yeah, do what color resonates for you. And like, oftentimes when I have clients, and for me, I personally, when anyone does this, after a while, you'll notice that different colors do different things. So if you want to be more energized, an orange color will be good, or a yellow. And then there's different shades of green or blue or whatever it is. Like there's like that, like kind of like electric blue, and then there's this blue, and then there's navy blue. So it just depends. Or there's like a deep purple. That color relaxes me. And also it's like that relaxation where I can focus, like with a deep purple. So just notice how your energy field responds to certain colors. Yeah, that is the vibration of authenticity. Jabari, Peter, I feel you are working it out. You are, Peter. And then the other thing is that I have to keep calling you guys out on. Gotta keep you guys are so hard on yourselves. And people that are empaths and people that typically genuinely want to be better are typically hard on themselves, more than the narcissistic counterpart that they ran to therapy for in the first place. So that's why I'm always having you guys celebrate your wins, because it's like you start doing better, and then you're like, oh, but I'm not doing this right. So you're always focused on what you're not doing right. And it's also really important, especially if you're getting out of a narcissistic relationship. If you're getting out of a narcissistic relationship, your nervous system, sorry, I'm putting my phone on not disturb. Okay, it's also so important to celebrate your wins, especially if you are getting out of a toxic relationship, because in that toxic relationship, what did that toxic person do? Constantly focus on what you weren't doing right, why you're not enough, why you're too much. And so your nervous system is firing and wiring that way in that very high cortisol state, and you have these feedback loops going of I'm not enough, I'm too much, I'm not enough, I'm too much. So we have to break those completely. And one of the best ways to do that is to celebrate every single win, whether you think it's a small win or not, right? I took better care of myself today. I worked out, I drank water, I went to bed earlier. I didn't allow the inner critic to completely take over. We have to celebrate those wins, and even like little steps we take towards more self-care, more self-respect, more self-love. When we do those things and we celebrate those things, that is what breaks those old neural pathways. Because if we don't do that, then what are we going to do? We're going to have that inner critic take over, and then we're going to attract another relationship where that happens again, another work situation where that happens again. And that is what I don't want for you. Okay, we are breaking old patterns, and we are elevating our consciousness and our vibration to attract better things. It's fine. Like, we went through those things, it happens, right? But we also have to, we're learning and releasing those old patterns. We're not repeating them. So it's sometimes we have to be disciplined about it too, because it's so tempting. It's like, oh, but I need to do this, but this but it's like, that's the inner critic. That's the inner critic. And you are separate from the inner critic. Abel, why do you think people like Elon Musk only wear black? I don't know. It could be for a myriad of reasons. He's talked about how he doesn't really have style, but I have to say, as someone, I kind of often like force myself to wear color. I love wearing black. I love it. It's very grounding. There's like theories that people that wear black are more intelligent. I don't know if that's true, but I don't know. It's a grounding color. Some people like it. And I don't know, with Elon Musk in particular, and I'm someone that's not impressed by him. I think that he goes out of his way to try to make himself look more intelligent than he is. Like, you have to understand, the engineers that he has hired and everyone, like all of his employees, are the people that put together his products. He did have the idea, but he's not like a genius person that's actually creating rockets and cars and everything. And also, he got caught. I don't know the name of the video. I'm not a gamer. And Street Cat's not in here. Street Cat would know because he's a gamer. But like, he got caught cheating at this video game to make himself look like a genius. It's a video game like his kids would play and everything, but it takes like a really long time to get whatever to this certain level. And he's like, oh, I got there in 2 days or something, which is like impossible. And then it was like found out that he was like cheating to make himself look amazing. And so I mean, I don't have a lot of good things to say about him, but like, so if in that case, I don't think black is wearing all black is a sign that, you're smart, because I don't know. That's my opinion. But yeah, there are different things about it, or different theories about it. But for me, I do love wearing black. Like, this time of year, I'll do blue. As you can see, I have my blue nails, and like, there's certain times of the year where I'll add more color. But I've actively been trying to wear more color. So I don't know. Nature colors refresh me personally. Yeah. Jabari, Bob, I love that you're centered and grounded in nature. Yeah, nature colors are really. There's a book called Change Your Aura, Change Your Life by Barbara Martin, and it talks about like your energy field and bringing in certain colors, because you are like this whole thing about like your aura is your aura is many colors, right? And like you could see it on an infrared thing, like that, and it's not just heat, but like it goes beyond like just infrared, but it's a real thing that you are emanating different colors at different times. And when you're hungover, it looks a certain way, or if you're really inspired, people that don't have any like resistance around money and are naturally just like always wealthy kind of vibrate at a certain color. So Barbara Martin talks about how to work with the energy centers in your body, which are called chakras, and then also work with certain colors to bring in certain like energies. So like if you want to be more calm, a lot of those are like nature colors. If you want to be more energized, like I was just talking about, you want someone with vibrant colors. If you want to be inspired, if you want to feel more grounded in your body, you're going to want to do red or like brown. But it's really interesting if you want to know more about that. And if you're into energy work, I could tell you adore nature, Bob. That's awesome. Jabari, Abel, my feeling about Elon is that he stays in the black. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like he does. Let's see. Peter, it is part of at least me growing up. You can move a mountain and still would get the meh. Realizing that the question should be more, how do I feel versus looking for external validation to wire. You can't, yeah. So no amount of external validation will rewire anything. No amount of external validation will heal the past or heal whatever needs to be healed. No amount of external validation, jumping into a new relationship. That's a big one that people always do. Instead of like dealing with their feelings or dealing with any type of, it passes. Emotion is energy in motion. So they don't last, but people would rather numb out, again, because they're emotional cowards or they're so afraid of what other people think. And if it's like, oh, if I'm single, people will think something of me. Do you see how all of this is external validation? It does nothing and it only makes it worse. It's always an inside job, right? So if you want real change, if you want to feel real peace, real love, real joy, you have to do the work internally. And it doesn't need to take a long time, but you got to do it. Okay. You got to look at yourself. And if you keep numbing out, it's just, they're just different forms of addictions, right? I work with people sometimes that are like, oh yeah, I've been sober from alcohol for X amount of years, but they're still so numbed out. I'm like, you're still numbing out with relationships, jumping from one relationship to another. You're just as drunk as you've ever been. You're just using people instead of alcohol. So you're actually not sober, right? And so if we're constantly seeking external validation to validate ourselves or to numb out, it is just going to deepen that hole and make it worse and worse and worse, and it's really sad to watch people like that. I think I've talked about an ex of mine who and this goes to what we were saying earlier about like what happens when you don't work on yourself, who reached out to me and he was like, yeah, I'm the same, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, dude, you're fucking worse because you've been doing the same shit this whole time, like doing the external validation and not working on yourself. And it's just like, this is sad and pathetic. Like, you're a huge emotional coward. And like, it's just like, you have no like real friends and, because, they narcissists can't handle intimacy. So like you can't have any real friends, you're too old for that shit. It's super sad. So I don't want that to be the trajectory of your life. I want it to get better and better and better. And there's no amount of numbing out. There's no amount of money or whatever it is that, you think might cure it that will cure it. It's an inside job. It doesn't need to take that long. And it's so fulfilling, by the way. Like you feel closer to God. You feel so good. You're so full of joy and peace. It's just the best feelings, most elevated feeling to do that work. Yeah, it really cleans and clears the inner critic out of the way. And then you're just able to feel all this love just from God, just from source. Like you just feel this like tremendous amount of love all the time. And it feels so good. And yes, like then you're ready to attract a healthy relationship. But I'm telling you, I mean, I could be in the grocery store and I'm just like, "Oh," I just like it just hits you sometimes, but I constantly feel really good, and I want that for everyone, and I want that for myself more and more. Like, I'm not saying I'm just, like, all, like, whatever, enlightened and all the things, but I continue to work on that, and I continue to give those levels of consciousness more energy than the fear-based ones. So that's what I want for you guys too. Um Bob, I grew up in a house of women. I was informed black is a slimming color. There's that too. Bob, he was paying someone to level his account. It's embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. It's like, I don't know. I'm just not impressed by him. Also, his Elden Ring build is trash. I don't know what that is, but I'll take your word for it. Jabari, Lauren, I love your fashion sense. Nails on point. Thank you. I was just like, okay, if you're a girl, you know this, and it's like the mental anguish of picking your next nail color for the next 2 weeks. It's like, oh my god. But I was like really feeling blue. I was just like, I'm like really blue makes me happy. Facts. Happiness comes from within, Bob says. Jabari, still with you, Bob, on the goodness of sobriety. Hell yeah. Appreciate you, Jabari. We all appreciate you, Jabari. Yeah. It's sobriety just that's why it's so spiritual because it allows you to be closer to God. If you do real sobriety, not like, okay, I'm not drinking anymore, but I'm still gonna, that addiction feedback loop can rewire into something else. But if you really do the work, then that's why the 12th step is having it after having a spiritual awakening, like you have a real one, and it relieves you of wanting to numb out in other ways. And, if you are in 12 step or have a sobriety journey, but especially in 12 step, you'll see people be in multiple programs because it's like, okay, I had this thing going on, or I had a thing with gambling or this. But that's why when I work with people that have addiction, I'm like, I don't care like how many times you relapse this week or whatever, because I'm going a layer deeper and we want to unearth that addiction energy so it doesn't go towards a relationship or shopping or anger, like people can be addicted to anger and rage. So we want to release that addictive energy, and it's just addiction is an inability to be in the present moment. It's wanting to numb out constantly. And so if we could learn to be in the present moment, that does heal a lot. You scroll down here, have a drink of water. Sorry, I hope you guys didn't hear that. Okay. Funk Congress. Anyway, Bob, definitely spiritual for me personally. Love the step work. So good. I swear by big book meetings. Yeah. Um, that program, the program is very spiritual. Step work is very spiritual. And I think the big book, it's like one of the best pieces of literature. Like if you actually just read it and just read it, like, I mean, you don't have to just try and see, like it's a wonderful book to read over and over again. And so and then in big book meetings, you read part of the big book every time. So it is really amazing. So even if you're just thinking about 12 step, you could go to meetings on Zoom now, online or over the phone. Like there's like no reason to not just like check it out. Or sometimes like on like Spotify and things like that, they'll record the speaker part of the meeting so you could kind of get a sense. But I would recommend just hopping on a Zoom meeting so you could hear people share and realize what a supportive community it is. You can live without rage. Rage isn't a human need. Bob, yeah, it's small text on a phone. Things happen. Bob, I can apply to so many different problems. It can app yes, it can. Bob, there's an app to find meeting anywhere. Yeah, yeah. So there's, like, no excuse. You could either Google it, or apparently they have an app where you could find I like, any meeting around the world. So, like, let's say wherever you live, it's 2 a.m. and you're just, having racing thoughts. You could find a meeting that's maybe going on in England, and it's only the afternoon or early evening for them or whatever it is for them. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's so nice that it exists all over the world. It's such a beautiful thing, I think. Peter, I read somewhere and is my short-term goal that if I can sit somewhere by myself quietly 30 minutes to an hour without any distractions, it's a good sign you're totally comfortable with yourself. Yeah, and I mean, you could start with 2 minutes. That's why, meditation is so wonderful. Meditation, it really feels like mental, emotional, physical even, and spiritual hygiene. You'd be so surprised what 2 to 5 minutes of meditation can do, and it just clears so much energy out. It just really, and it will energize you. I can't tell you how many times in the morning I've been like, "Oh god, I'm not feeling it," and then I just go into meditation fully energized because I got rid of whatever energy, and sometimes it's just energy, like, from other people. I'm an empath, you never know what it is, but it's just clearing out your energy. Again, you brush your teeth, you take showers, why not do that? So, yeah, it's a good way to see if you're comfortable with yourself, and it's also, like, if you do if you just and meditating could be anything. You could just be looking at a candle, you could have your eyes closed and be listening to the sound of your breath and just relaxing with every exhale you take. It could be a myriad of things. I don't like raging, but what if people are always rage baiting? What if they are? People have their addictions. If they're rage baiting, they're probably addicted to rage and drama. So what? You don't have to engage in it. Again, we don't do jade here. Justify, argue, defend, explain, or even engage with toxic people like that because we don't allow ourselves to be used as supply because that's all that the narcissist toxic person sees us as. They don't see us as human beings. They see us as supply. So why would we do that? Why would we put ourselves in a position where we're just used to fuel someone's drama addiction? I'm not into that. I don't want you guys to be used like that. You're better than that. You deserve to be loved. Hi, Jojo. How are you? Abel, do you think there's such thing as being too alone? I think that, like, if you're in a space where you're like, "Fuck people, I don't wanna," if it's coming from a place of distrust or any of the lower energies and fear states. So fear, grief, "Oh, this happened in the past, I don't wanna happen again," suspicion, um, cynicism, if it's coming from those, if you're wanting to be alone because of that, then I do think it could be problematic. But if you are fine being alone, then it's good. It depends, right? So it depends on the situation if it's serving you. And the my thing that I want for you guys more than anything is that your relationships in any part of your life, I want it to be positively contributing to your life. I want there to be a nice synergy between things. So you're not just being drained, but you're being a taker. There's a nice synergy. There's a nice flow and exchange of energy. So, and sometimes that's hard with people like I've had this happen many times where I'm like, oh gosh, I've had this person in my life forever. I guess I should just, and it's like, no, no. And right. And I'm at a point where if I don't clear it out, God will do it for me. And if you have a hard time clearing it out, surrender it to God and like fully, like wholeheartedly be like, the prayer I say is like, God, please aggressively remove anything out of my life that isn't serving me for highest and best good and not bringing me in alignment with you more. And so, but don't be surprised when some stuff clears out like big time. But and it was always stuff that I was like putting off, like, oh, I need to not be hang out with that person, give that person, and I just kept letting it linger. And then as soon as I said that, it was like poof, and then it went away, and it was very nice. Um, let's see. Hi, Vanna. How are you, Vanna? Um, Jojo, hi, Bob. Doing great. Had a rough weekend, but still. What happened, Jojo? Is there anything we could help you out with? Sorry, your weekend was rough. And the week will be better. And it's also it's okay to have a rough weekend, and it's okay to have a rough time, but it's like, did we learn something about ourselves from that? And even if it's just like, I don't have to be so hard on myself, or maybe I just need to relax or reset or engage in self-care or have a better boundary, like whatever it was that happened, maybe it was a gift in some type of way. Jojo. Wait, Jabari, Jojo, I feel the same way, Bob. Hopefully it wasn't a bizarre weekend. Jojo, I would like to share this with everyone. My own father told me the life of a dog is worth more than, I think that more than you. Like, Jojo, I'm literally broken down. And Jojo, I'm so sorry to hear that. And that is not true. And anyone that would say that about anyone, but especially their own son, is deeply disturbed and sick. Like, that is a sick person. But it still hurts, especially when it comes from a parent. I've had my parent say similar things to me. And even though I know logically that that person is mentally ill and sick, and only someone that hates themselves would say that to anyone, especially their child, it still fucking hurts, Jojo. And I'm so sorry that that happened. And that is not true. Um, Jabari, Jojo, life is worth more than you know. Yeah. Um, yeah. And Jojo, he doesn't love himself. No one that would say that to anyone, especially their own son, loves themselves. So that's an indication that he really hates himself. I'm sorry, that he hates himself, and that was projected onto you. And that's why it hurts so much, because you're feeling all the self-hate that he feels for himself. This is something that narcissistic parents use their children for as supply. It's like all the disgusting things that they feel about themselves, all the self-loathing, all the self-hate, they project it onto their children and make them feel terrible. And I'm so sorry that's happened. I can personally relate, and I'm so sorry that's happening to you. And I could tell you right now that that is not true. Please do some inner child work and tell all of your inner children that that is not true and that they're loved. And I feel like you're hearing this right now to know that that's not true, and you are completely loved, and your life is so precious and meaningful. And you, even if you don't know that right now, just take my word for it. Just decide to believe me. But I'm really sorry, because when a parent does that, it does has that effect on you, like that is the only truth, but it like dysregulates you so much. I had many times where I was like in tears from my narcissistic mother telling me things that like literally dysregulated me so much, like I could barely work. Like I would always like work out, do some type of workout, and then work with my clients, but that's all I could do. I could barely eat or function in any way from the shit that she would say to me. So I completely understand how dysregulating and utterly devastating it is. It's just, and they want to do that. And the sick part about it is when narcissistic and toxic parents do that, they get relief from it. And if your parent is sociopath, and they get pleasure out of making you feel like this. So I'm so sorry. And please, I mean, if you were my client, I would tell you to go non-contact with your dad or anyone that said this to you. I'd be like, they should not exist in your reality. Peter, that's a great point, Lauren. Sometimes I feel acting on my anger or passive aggression in my relationship now. Maybe there is my inner child telling me it should come from a place of love. Exactly. There you go, Peter. Like, you're very good at putting the pieces together. And our inner children are always trying to talk to us. They're always giving us information about the reality of the situation. That's what I'm telling Jojo, like, talk to your inner children and tell them the truth and how loved they are. And by the way, Jojo, let yourself cry. Emotions are energy in motion, and that grief needs to be expressed and released. Bob, that's terrible, Jojo, and I hope you know that's not true. Exactly. Jabari, Jojo, your life is worth more than you know. Exactly. Peter, I have an understanding with it since it doesn't want to be a doormat, but not act on every impulse. It is the pause and act thing that helps immensely. Exactly. When just like that positive pattern disruption. When we create a pause before we respond to an intense emotion, that's a form of self-care and a form of self-respect. Jabari says, Jojo, brother, please remember that God loves you and we love you, right? We do. And so we're here for you and we're speaking the truth. You know, someone that is, even though it's your father, is very sick and disturbed and hates himself. And I'm sorry that you were the punching bag for that and the target of that. But please, if you see like what he said to you as like this big rock or something, just release it. You know, you could give it back to him, or you could just like throw it. You could throw it towards God and let God deal with it. Just give it to God, surrender it to God. And know that what we are saying to you is the truth, that you are so loved, and that is absolutely not true. Jojo, thank you everyone here. Bob, Peter, I see you guys here often. Miss Lauren, thank you. You're so welcome. Yes, we're a very loving, supportive community here. And thank you for your vulnerability, Jojo. And yes, just trust what we're saying is true. Your life is so important. You are so important and you are so loved. Abel, Lauren, how would you reach out to an old friend that ghosted you through no fault or their own years ago? So they ghosted you through no fault. So no fault of their own. So you guys just stopped talking? I think I need more context. How do I reach out to an old friend that ghosted you through no fault or their own years ago? Maybe there's a typo in there. But can you clarify what you are saying before I answer? Peter, Jojo, I've had similar things happen, but have realized it's your dad's issue. Exactly, not yours. You are in the driver's seat, Jojo, of your life. Understand, coming from your dad hits hard. He is human he's but here's my thing about this. Okay, we all have baggage, but you get to work on it instead of projecting it onto everyone, especially your children. And so, and I'm just saying that because that's not a freaking excuse. It's like, okay, like with my narcissistic mom, okay, yeah, of course she had trauma. Do something about it. Especially with someone like her who has time to do that. You know what I mean? But even if you prioritize that shit, it's your mental health. If it was physically something going on, it would be like the equivalent of having your arms and feet rot or something. It's like you need that to function properly in society. So work on it instead of using people and abuse, not even using and abusing people. Like then you're just doing all these forms of child abuse. So, yeah, of course your dad has trauma, Jojo, but it's no freaking excuse. That's why, again, going back to this is like the theme for this for this live stream. Let's not hang out with people that aren't actively working on themselves, that aren't engaged in some form of self-development. It's just not going to work. Peter, Jojo, I just said that one. Bob, you're very welcome, Jojo. You're valuable, unique, important, and worthy of love. Never forget that. Got it? Yes. Screenshot that. Oh, screenshot all of the stuff that all the nice things that people have said, and then come back and rewatch this, Jojo, anytime. I'm gonna leave it up forever. Right, right after we get off the live stream, I just leave it up. So I want you to screenshot all of the things all the supportive things people said, and I want you to rewatch this later. Okay, promise me you'll do that. Peter, you're welcome, Jojo. I'm sure you will be giving me similar support when I need it. Oh, guys, I love you guys. Jojo, Peter, he abandoned us when we were kids. One day he returned as if nothing happened. The damage was done. Yet I did try to blame myself at times, but you are correct. It is not your fault. When kids, when toxic parents do all kinds of abandoning. You could have toxic parents that never physically leave the home, but they're always abandoning you. They're not like emotionally available. They're telling you to shut up. They're telling you your needs don't matter or your whatever you have to say. Those are all forms of abandonment. But yes, they also physically leave and then, oh, I'm not taking accountability for anything, so we're going to pretend like nothing happened. That's so fucking toxic and abusive. And so when that happens, especially as a child, in order to make yourself feel safe, you blame yourself because it's like, okay, well, my parent isn't taking responsibility for anything, so I'm going to blame myself because that will make me feel like I can control it, which will make me feel safe. So it's this whole false belief. And then we grow up and we have abandonment issues to heal and release. So your dad is very sick and he's choosing not to do anything about that. And that is no fault of your own, Jojo. Bob. Bob, I say just send it. Say hi. I've had luck reaching out to old pals. Most people are happy to hear from us. Yeah. Okay, here we go. I ghosted a best friend. Okay, you ghosted a best friend years ago. I ghosted everyone. I want to reach out to my friend. Okay, perfect. So if that's the case, you ghosted a bunch of people, including that friend, start with that. Be like, hey, address the monkey, or no, not the monkey in the room, but like the elephant, whatever animal that is, but just address what the behavior was, right? So be like, hey, whatever amount of years ago I ghosted you, I'm really sorry about that, and I've grown a lot from since then, and I've been thinking about you, and I'd love to reconnect because I miss our relationship or I miss our friendship. Just something simple like that. But acknowledge what you did and apologize and say that you're in a different place now and you would love to reconnect. That's what I would do, Abel. And people typically respond well to when you take accountability for things. No excuses. No excuses. You don't have to be like, oh, this and that. Like when you reconnect, you could talk about like what happened, like the healing journey that you were on or whatever it was. But like you could just be like, yeah, I ghosted everyone and sorry about that. And I'd love to reconnect. And I could tell you what happened if you want to hear about it. But just know that I'm sorry and I've been thinking about you and I'd love to catch up. Something simple like that. Peter, Jojo, that is great awareness. Keep telling your inner child that it is not one and done. You have to keep telling yourself until it becomes who you are to our healing. Yes, exactly. That's why we keep talking to the inner children. And like inner child work is like all the versions of you as a child and teenager, and your inner child, it could be up until like 5 years or whatever, like these different versions of ourselves. But because our brain was getting formed in those years, especially, and we were really absorbing all of the events that were going on in our lives, and we were taking on our parents' trauma and their negative patterning, it's really important to rewire our brain in that way. So talking to our inner children, starting from the younger ages and then working. But like if your inner teenager is just like popping up and is like, I'm angry or I want to be creative or whatever it is, definitely pay attention to, whichever inner child wants to talk. Okay, Jojo, good. That will be good self-care. Definitely do those things. And we're here for you. We love you. Oh, I can't believe it's almost 6:30 or 9:30 if you're on the East Coast. Wait, right? Yes. Wow. So I'm going to wrap up. Amazing questions, you guys. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much to Bob for moderating and keeping these streets clean and all of your beautiful feedback, Bob. And like everyone, like I love how supportive all of you guys are with each other. That makes me really happy. And yes, so thank you to Bob, especially for moderating and keeping all the, I feel like there weren't that many trolls, so that was good. But still, so appreciative of you and glad your phone is working, Bob. And we're excited for your move to Texas. Let's see, Jojo. All of you have been sincere with me today. Oh, you're so welcome. Yes, like we are being sincere. Unfortunately, your father doesn't have the ability, or he's choosing to not be. He does have the ability, but he's choosing not to be. So go where the love is. I'm always telling you that. Go where the love is. And there's definitely love here. We love you. Peter says, thanks, everyone. Thanks, Lauren. I'm thankful for something. Happy to help. Pleasure as always, Lauren. And chat. Bob says, Abel, thank you, Lauren. I'm going to take your advice. Yeah, let us know how it goes. Jabari, thank you, Bob's excited to eat some lunch with you in Houston soon. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you guys have to have barbecue for me out there. Peter, thanks everyone. And Lauren, I can feel we are all putting our arms around each other's shoulders. Yes, I love that. Energetically, we are. Yeah, soon. So fun, you guys. I love it. All right, you guys, have an amazing week. Talk to your inner children. If you missed the neurological reprogramming tool at the beginning, go ahead and watch it. It shows you how to connect with your inner child. First, like ground you, and especially if you're having a trigger, and then talk to your inner child. So do that, and I will be posting more on that this week, like I said, because that was my intention for the week. Yeah, I've been wanting to do that. Have a Zoom. I think that would be good. Or like have a community where we do Zoom once a week, like a smaller community. So I'm still thinking about that. Like maybe a Discord and then a general Discord. And then for people that want like to do that, we could like, it could be like a small like paid membership thing. And then I could do more coaching like this. But if it was on Zoom, it'd be like a little bit more interactive where you could talk to each other. But yeah, let me know. Jabari, Peter, I feel the same way. Thank you, Lauren and community, for all the love. Yes, you are so welcome. Always sending lots of love. All right, everyone, have an amazing week. Thank you for all the good questions. The Zoom sounds amazing. Okay. A community siege. Okay, I like that. I've been wanting to do some type of community, so just I keep thinking about what that looks like, but maybe I'll just do it, I'll have some updates for you on Wednesday about that. 'cause I do think it would be good to do, like, a Zoom type of, like, coaching thing. Um, so yeah. Alright, love you guys. Have an amazing week, and I will see you on Wednesday. Mwah.